Yeah, so in our last class, we were talking about testing a web-based software application, right? We saw some basic idea on this particular thing. So we saw some of the challenges in your web-based application testing and the development, where we saw that okay, this is actually something. Okay, sorry. I guess I missed to present my screen. Let me go ahead with sharing the entire screen. Yeah, thanks for pointing this issue out, Jayant. Yeah, so uh, we said that okay, there is an issue which is like it has a short release cycle, and hence frequent changes we observe, and the testing becomes a tedious task. Then on top of it, we see that okay, there is like a constantly changing technology as far as your web portals or websites are concerned, and then we may encounter a heavy traffic initially for a particular launch, and then there is an issue that I don't have any control over the user's environment on which my application is running. Then the availability factor of a particular web portal should be very high, and then we took some examples of a couple of portals where we said that okay, the time is like availability factor should be very high, the response time should be very high. Then we looked into the topology of a website where we have like uh, the browser, the internet service provider, a firewall. Then we have a web server and a database engine and the application server. Then we saw the actual need of your web testing, where we said that okay, there are several issues associated with this particular part as well. And then we had a discussion on the functionality and the functional and the usability study of this particular part. And there also we took several examples in our discussion. Then we said that okay, why it is more important, right? Why this functionality testing is very crucial. So we said that we don't want to see all these kind of errors, right? So that's why the functionality testing becomes very important. uh, then we talked about your functional testing, right? So where we said that okay, we make sure that the features that mostly affect the user interaction should work properly, and these features includes like a form in a portal, the search options, the pop-up windows, the shopping carts, plus the online payment. Of course, whenever we are dealing with some or the other financial transactions, we need to be very cautious, right? In that case we need to be very cautious. Then we have like functional testing, which evaluates the content of the dynamically generated pages, right? Some of the pages are generated dynamically and verifies you know uh, some of the background connections to the databases. And I guess yeah, we have to start from the usability testing part, right? So once again, this is something which is subjective in nature, right? Your usability is something which is subjective in nature. Usability testing basically assess the website's user friendliness and the suitability by gathering the information about how the user interact with this particular site. So once again, the feedback plays a very important role in this particular part as well. And then of course we draw a usability matrix as well, right? But as I said, this is something which is subjective, because the usability, the navigation part for a particular uh, portion of a website might be very friendly for a particular set of users and might not be friendly at all for a particular set of users. So the key to usability testing is to study what a user actually does, right? And some of the steps which are involved in your usability testing part are to identify the website's purpose, right? See, there are millions of websites, right? And then if suppose a particular website is available without identifying the actual purpose, then obviously we'll not find any users. And in case of a website which has a very specific purpose and has a good number of users associated to that particular part, then definitely that particular website becomes very popular. So usability testing is basically falling under non-functional testing part, right? I guess I don't need to throw any light on non-functional testing now, because we had a lot amount of discussion on this. So basically it measures, right, how easily the system can be used by my end users, right? So uh, difficult to evaluate and difficult to measure, because as I said, we have a huge variety of users. Then we need to identify the intended users as well. A particular website, right? Let's say I have a particular website with the name of Whitehead Junior. So in that case, right, the users will be of a certain age range. Then we need to define the tests and conduct the usability testing, and we need to analyze the acquired information as well. So basically, it's a practice of testing, like how easy a design is to use with a group of representative users, and usually involves observing users as they attempt to complete the tasks. So it's about catching the customers in the act and providing highly relevant and highly contextual information. So in some sense, your usability testing basically leads to the right products. Right, it leads to the right products. So it determines whether the testers can complete the task successfully or independently or not. So one of the major part about usability testing is the navigation testing. And in this particular case, what we see is that a good navigation is something which is a core part of a website, especially those that are complex and provide a lot of information, right? Let's take an example of, let's say, Amazon.in, right? So if you see the navigation part right from the cart, I can directly once again move to the product specification, product and product specification, right? So in that case, all of a sudden I am giving a second thought on a particular product. So there I see a lot of scope. Then below this particular product, I see the comparison, which makes me to take a right decision on selecting a particular product. So these are things which are considered widely as far as your navigation is concerned. So when we talk about usability testing, what we do is that especially right now I'm talking about usability testing. So what we do here is in this particular part, what we do is we plan and then we choose the participants or the stakeholders, those who will be doing the tests. And then what we do is we perform the tests. Then of course, once we have performed the test, we have obtained the results, then I need to analyze these results. And once I have analyzed these results, I need to document the recommendations which has come from the testing team. Right, they may recommend that, okay, you need to add certain tabs for a proper navigation. You may need to add or remove a particular link from a particular page. So that kind of stuff we go through it in this particular process. That means a very crucial one, just because here I'll be able to retain a particular user on my website or on my product if the navigation is something which is crucial. That's why the usability testing is something which is Very, very crucial. So these are some of the users expectation as far as your navigation testing is concerned. So what we do is like easy and quick access to the information they want, right? Uh, Lesser the time consumed in order to get the access to the particular information, higher the chance will be to retain my customers. Right. So users should not struggle. They should not struggle in finding a particular information. Then there should be a logical hierarchy of of pages, right? See, home page has a separate use. Then somewhere I'll have contact us. Somewhere I'll have about. Then somewhere I'll have the details of the product if I'm keeping some product. So that's how I need to maintain a logical hierarchy of the pages which I have added to my particular portal. Then confirmation of where they are at any point of time, right? During the navigation, if suppose I am an end user, I should be I should be having a clear cut idea about where actually I am right now, right? In what part of the website I have landed right now. Then facility to return to the previous stage or state or the home page, right? So everywhere, almost in any particular website, you will see that we can directly jump to the home page if and when required. So that particular link will always be there, and moving to the previous, that means moving to the back, will always be there. Consistent look and layout of every page, right? So there will be a pattern of layout. It should not be like the first page is red, next page is blue, afterwards it's orange. So there will be a consistency in look and feel, right? Consistency in look and feel, and that's how you are able to retain the user, right? Because if there is a consistency, the users will be there on your portal. Yeah, the pages should not be cluttered, right? Cluttered in the sense a random page pops up all of a sudden through a link, right? I'm navigating into a particular page and all of a sudden I find that no, there is something which was not required and it has been added all of a sudden. Now, next is your forms testing, right? So website that use forms need to be tested to ensure that all the fields which are added in the form works properly, and your form posts all the data as intended by the designer. So it's like information gathering, or it is your information capturing. See, forms are way to collect the data, right? Forms are a way to collect the data. And if suppose I'm not able to collect the data by validating all the fields and then entering the data to the database properly, then the usage of that particular data does not make any sense, right? If suppose I am not able to validate a particular field where I need to get an email ID and some person randomly gives ABC and submits the option, right? So that particular part is not working for me. I should have a field check, right? abc@gmail.com. And similarly for saving it, it should go to the right place. It should go to the right column, right? I have the email. I should get the data somewhere here. Collecting, validating, and then submitting it properly. So testing the form includes the following action. Use the tab key to verify that the form traverses fields in the proper order, both forward as well as backward. Then I need to test the boundary values. I need to check that forms trap invalid data correctly, especially the data and numeric formats. Verifying that the form updates the information correctly, right? So that particular part is also something which is very crucial. So this is the normal phenomena, right? If you are submitting, let's say, a form where you have to give a username and a password. Now the password has certain characteristic. It should be like alphanumeric. So if you're keeping a simple one, so it will give you an error message that okay, there is something which is not acceptable. Sometimes you see that okay, the username and passwords are same. Then also you see an error that okay, my username and passwords are looks to be same. That's also something which is not acceptable. It depends on the kind of conditions which you're enforcing. So that particular part is something which is considered in this particular case. So in the usability testing, so this form is also part of usability testing. The role of designer also comes into picture, right? The role of designers also comes into picture as far as the product is concerned, or a particular portal, you can say, if I'm talking about websites to be very specific. So that particular part is something which is very important. Now next is your page content testing. That means the content of a web page. So obviously, I would prefer to give the correct information, right? So each web page must be tested for correct content from the user's perspective. So these tests fall into two categories: ensuring that one is ensuring that each component functions correctly, ensuring that the content of each is correct. So once again, it's like I need to have the language experts, I need to have the domain experts, I need to have the subject matter experts in this particular part. Next is your configuration and compatibility testing. So a key challenge in web applications is ensuring that the user sees a web page as the designer has intended. So user can select different browser software and the browser options, use different network softwares and online services, and can run concurrent applications. And my expectations are that the output should be same. So compatibility testing ensures product functionality and reliability on supported browsers and the platforms that exists on the customer's computer, right? So it's like I have a particular website, so the user friendliness on Chrome is almost similar to what we have on Mozilla Firefox, right? And it is almost similar to what we see on Safari or Edge, Microsoft Edge. So these things should always be same. That kind of compatibility testing we do in case of your web-based applications. Now, so what we do is that this is a guideline for testing the web application by listing the platforms and the browser environment. So what we have is, let's say, this is a platform. These are the Netscape Communicator or Net Navigator, a very old one, right? Then these are some of the browsers, right? So here we need to give some figures if suppose it's not applicable. So let's give this. That kind of form we have filled in post testing and we pass it on to the team. Okay, now the next is reliability and availability factor. Once again, you can say that this is also something which is your non-functional requirements or non-functional attributes. NFRs or NFAs. Right, reliability and availability, obviously a non-functional attribute. So a key requirement of a website is that it is available whenever the user requests it, and often 24/7 cross, every day. It's like every day, every moment, it should be available. The number of users accessing a website simultaneously may also affect the site's availability, right? Uh, Number of simultaneous users. So right now we are talking about load, and availability. Here, I'll also talk about, scalability factor. I'll also talk about your throughput. I am not throwing lights on these particular things because we had a good amount of discussion previously as well. So you might have the idea about reliability and availability, and as far as your load, or you can say availability in context with load, or availability in context with simultaneous users is concerned. So to assess the availability, the tester must build the tests around the anticipated usage spikes, which can include, like for store applications, promotional campaigns and sales; for business cycles, the month and the quarter end dates; for banking applications, direct deposit dates; during maintenance, the required downtime for backups, upgrades, and other operations. Right. Most of the time, you might have observed the on the web portals of your banking internet banking services, you see that, okay, for the maintenance activity, you see a downtime scrolling in order to declare that, okay, for, let's say, today 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. the system will be down for some maintenance and upgradation activities, right? So we do observe, because any system which is available running 24 cross 7 needs to be updated for some extra functionalities, or to meet with the competitors, to add some patches, to remove some bugs. So there will be downtime for sure. IRCTC, a most loaded website, right, goes for a downtime on daily basis for settling the transactions which occur on daily basis. Performance, once again, a very popular non-functional requirement. Here we are talking in context with the website, not in context with the product as a whole. So performance testing evaluates the system's performance under your normal and the heavy usage. Normal means, let's say, if I am talking about a banking application or a web banking website, so after 5 p.m. or 4 p.m., it will be like, uh, you know, less traffic, but during the banking hours from 9 to 4, the traffic will be heavy, right? So heavy usage. So website performance is crucial to the success of any web application, right? See, if I don't get a user friendliness and a very high performance from Amazon.in, let's say we are using in, not .com here in India. So in that case, obviously, let's say if I have to check, if I'm clicking on a particular product and I need to wait for 30 seconds, right, then definitely I'll not prefer to visit this particular portal. I'll definitely move to its competitor where I'll see a better performance. So performance definitely plays a very important role as far as the users visits or the retainment of the users is concerned. So in case of performance testing, what we have is, we have scalability, we have load, we have stress. So in case of scalability, see, we have discussed all these terms, but here in context with the website, we are talking about this particular thing. So scalability concerns the website's ability to handle the volumes and the types of activities, right, that can occur, let's say, after the launch. So number of transactions, or maybe number of simultaneous transactions, right? That is something where we are focusing. Simultaneous transactions. Then we have some scenarios which can affect the scalability, like how closely the test environment matches the production environment. Then millions of users accessing the site during the launch. So I may observe a sudden spike on the load and The anticipated load might not be, equivalent to what the actual load my site observes currently. Activity spikes due to the marketing promotions. Yeah, that's particular. That's also a scenario. During the let's say the upcoming Black Friday sale, obviously all these websites, Amazon.com and other websites will see unusual traffic. Then the load testing. So the purpose of load testing is to model the real world experience, typically by generating many simulations user accessing the website. So load testing may need to be repeated at least once in order to get an idea about the capability or the potential. Next is your stress. So stress testing consists of subjecting the system to varying and the maximum load. The purpose is to evaluate the resulting performance. So once again, it can be automated. Before launch, I can automate this particular thing because post launch, it's available to the real world. So tools can report the following type of information. That means the number of requests, number of transactions in kilobyte or seconds, round trip time. That means time from the user makes a request to the time that the user receives the request. The number of concurrent connections. Then we have like degradation of performance, types of visitors to the site and their number, then CPU and the memory usage of the application server. Next one is your security testing. As far as your website is delivering some content, it has some registered users. So registered users have saved some information on your database. Plus, suppose it is dealing with the financial transactions. In that case, also, it's like I am storing some additional financial transaction related information. So security is a primary concern when communicating and conducting the business, especially the sensitive and the business critical transactions over the internet. Regardless whether the application requires the users to enter a password to access the website, or the tester must check for some internet threats. So we have like end-to-end transaction testing. So right from the beginning to the end, to follow the workflow to the customer from beginning of the visit to the customer leaving the particular site. So right from the business unit of behavior 1 till the unit of behavior n, I'm looking for the behavior of the customer. Then we have a backend testing, which is a database testing. Obviously, once again, a crucial part as far as web testing is concerned. The reason being, I need to look for the data integrity. That means there isn't any corruption in the data. The data validity, that means the accurate information provided to the customer and accurate information passed back to the database. Then we have the data manipulation and the updates. So all these things should be done in isolation. So updating the number of books sold, book available, or the products. So that kind of testing we have. Then we have something called as post implementation testing. So post implementation testing verifies the behavior of the application in the production environment, and it is not feasible to duplicate the test environment to match the production environment, because even if I'm giving some efforts in order to duplicate it, but still that particular thing will not be as accurate as we get the real world environment. So post implementation takes place in a production maintenance window. So I keep a time limit. There we take a call on testing this product post implementation. So some of the key points: testing web application obviously presents some new challenges, and functional and usability test focuses on the site's intended behavior. What we have is like functional testing. I have the usability testing, testing a form, navigation testing, and testing the content of the pages. Your configuration and the compatibility testing makes sure that the application functions correctly across the various hardware and software environments. Reliability and availability testing assesses whether the website is accessible whenever the user requests it by testing around the anticipated peak usage, such as like marketing promotions or maybe some sales are there, then in that case. Then we have performance testing, where we said that, okay, let's talk about the scalability on the load testing. And the last one is your security testing. Then we have like end-to-end transaction testing, right from the first unit of behavior to the last one. Then we have the database testing and your post-implementation testing. The last one where we verify the application's behavior in the production environment. So this was all from my end. Let's take some questions now. Let's take some questions which you have on this particular topic.